Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys Podcast. I'm Michael and Andy is here.
I'm still here.
Yes. He's hanging around. We appreciate it, Andy.
See how much room I have now? I can actually get off the chair. He's giving me so much freedom now.
That's right. We're giving him some bathroom privileges and some food privileges now. Mm-hmm. You've almost got enough episodes under your belt to maybe go home.
Right? Oh,
for a few hours.
I get a break. Yes. Visitation hours.
That's right. You're looking forward to it.
Conjugal visits.
Oh, and we gave you spring break off, right?
It's springtime out there?
It is. It is.
I thought I smelled pollen.
We hope everyone had a great Easter, spring break, what have you. We did. I enjoyed some time off. Well, not really. It was due to a death in the family, but overall, it turned out to be a pretty good experience overall. It brought a lot of family members together, as deaths often do.
Death is the ultimate time off.
It is.
It is the ultimate vacation. It is the ultimate spring break.
All right, Andy, are you daydreaming?
I'm kind of fantasizing here about maybe just a long coma.
I think you're romanticizing death a little bit much here at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, God, yeah, that sounds like a great nap.
Yeah. All right, guys, well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. And if you'd like to watch this show, you can. You can watch every single episode of True Crime Guys proper on YouTube. And you can see myself and Andy as well as pictures of what we're talking about, so you don't have to Google them, right? You don't even have to take the time, and it's a great time waster at work as well. And also, if you're on YouTube, I can show you these amazing stickers that my daughter Melody designed. Mm-hmm. Andy, you want to do a close-up for one of these? Do a close-up on one of these.
We've got one
right You got longer
here.
Arms. There we go.
We've got
Look
this
at that.
guy on a mug.
It is a guy, presumably a true crime guy, with a TV for a head, naturally. And he has a rose in his hand, and he is tossing it out as a creep van explodes behind him. It sounds very complex, but I think it turned out very nice. So, guys, you can get a hold of these at truecrimeguys.com and click the link stickers for $5. $5, they will be shipped to you wherever you shall live, even if it's Australia. We don't care.
Those stickers really just exemplify the vibe around here. Just
I think so.
Walking away, chaos behind.
That's right. That's how I walk away after every recording.
That's how I leave the studio.
I forgot all that horrible shit.
You just light a match and walk away. The insurance on this studio is ridiculous at this point.
It is quite. It's about the 5th studio we built. No. But yeah, if you guys want to get one of those custom stickers, they're $5. Link in the description below this episode, or you can go to truecrimeguys.com. Okay, also, guys, check out our other show, Strange and Unexplained, which comes out every Monday wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as Sandu Stories comes out every other Tuesday.
Yeah, Sandu Stories.
Yes, Sandu Stories. Our most latest episode, called The Encore, where an up-and-coming musician is booked to play at a compound for what he is told is a retreat of some sort. But after his performance and other strange occurrences, he learns that this wellness group has more sinister intentions for their headlining act. This one is not based on any crime at all, and it has dinosaurs in it, and it's a crazy one-off story that I had a blast doing. Honestly, I pitched this idea to Andy, and he ran with it, and it came to life, and it was a lot of fun.
It was like a higher thoughts idea. He was just like, okay,
listen to me. Hold on for a second.
What about a cult, but with dinosaurs? I was like,
Huh?
You got me. It's like one of those pitch meeting ideas.
That's right. So, guys, if you want to check out that crazy story, it's Sandu Stories everywhere you listen. By the time this episode comes out, it should be available everywhere. And if you like what you hear with Sandu Stories, there is a lot more where that came from at patreon.com/truecrimeguys, as well as extra content from me and Andy, like strange shorts every single Monday. Speaking of Patreon, I'd like to thank Kendra for this amazing suggestion of Alferd Packer. Alferd Griner Packer.
Pecker.
And I'm not saying it wrong. It's some people say Alfred, right? Alfred was obviously his name, but he kind of embraced Alferd for whatever reason in his later years. I think he just thought it was funny, or maybe it was due to an accent. I don't know what it was, but you will find both of them all over the interwebs. And Alferd more commonly, honestly.
Well, that's the one that stands out more. They're like, you know what,
yeah.
let's just make this guy even more noticeable.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, we don't want you to get confused with anybody else named Alfred. Let's just go ahead and throw this guy into the Alferd category.
Right, exactly.
Limit the Google searches down a little bit.
That's right. But either way, he's an American folk figure, and he's known as the Colorado Cannibal. And like I said, his name is often misspelled as Alferd. Some people say the error stems from his own illiteracy, or it could be when a dyslexic tattoo artist misspelled his name as Alferd, and it became sort of an inside joke for him, and he kind of just ran with it.
We've all misspelled our own names before.
Have we?
I did it one time.
You think it's Alferd's fault, or do you think it was the tattoo artist's fault? Because they're not stenciling back in the 1800s, man. They're just putting that shit on there.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying. Like
That's a free hand job.
That's guaranteed. Yeah, it's a free hand job. Good.
Yeah.
I like what you did.
It's all about phrasing, Andy.
I like what you did there.
That's right.
But yeah, it's guaranteed. It's like, what do you want the tattoo to say, Alferd? What do you think I said? What do you think
What
I
do you
said?
think I said?
You know what? Can you write it? No? Okay, I'm just gonna trust you.
Right.
Can you spell that the first time correctly?
Right. He went a little too far south to get his tattoo. Alferd? Yeah, I got you. Turn around.
You want me to write it down for you? I've already started, man.
Right. All right, we joked around enough here at the beginning. We're going to get one starred. Let's get into this guy. Lord knows we ain't the first, am I right? We'll see you on the other side of the intro. He hails from Pennsylvania, just couldn't wait to get away, yeah. So he left the farm, went out looking for gold. Well, that's Alfred, or should I say Alferd? He's only good at looking out for number one, that cannibal son of a gun. He had his eyes on the gold in San Juan. He prayed, dear Lord, don't let it be gone. Said, I know the way, y'all follow me. Bold-faced lie and exaggeration. He ain't the kind to face starvation. If he's got a couple buddies, he's as good as gold. Well, that's Alfred, or should I say Alferd? He's only good at looking out for number one, that cannibal son of a gun. He had his eyes on the gold in San Juan. He prayed, dear Lord, don't let it be gone. Said, I know the way, y'all follow me. That's Alfred, or should I say Alferd? He's only good at looking out for number one, that cannibal son of a gun. All right. Let's talk about old Alfred or Alferd. Which do you prefer, Andy?
I'll take Alferd.
I like Alfred.
Yeah, I won't take Alfred. My money's on Alferd.
Yeah, I'm going to call him that. I like it. But he was born in Allegheny County in Pennsylvania on January 21st, 1842. And who really cares who shares a birthday with him, honestly? I don't really know why we started that. I don't really care. I mean, if you care, if enough people care, maybe I'll bring that back. But I'm willing to bet a lot of people don't care. But he was not an only child, although I'm not sure how many siblings he had. I guess they didn't eat people, so in turn, I guess they just weren't famous enough to be mentioned.
Well, I guess all their names are probably properly spelled in the genealogy tree.
Yeah, they were so goody two shoes. He didn't like them. But his parents were James Packer and Esther Griner. And by the 1850s, young Alferd had moved to LaGrange County, Indiana, and began a career in carpentry, where he made cabinets. That's right. Yeah, he didn't really get along with his parents very well, apparently, at a young age, even as like a teenager. Like he was gone before he was 20, like way before he was 20.
Shocking back then.
Right? Yeah, seriously. You're a man by 12, so get the hell out.
You're a man as soon as you get that first mustache hair.
Right. So anyways, by the 1850s, he's creating a decent living for himself, and he no longer needed his parents' support. And their relationship faltered, and that apparently caused Alferd to want to move even further away, taking up residence in Minnesota, where he became a cobbler, or a shoemaker, for those of you unfamiliar with the term. He didn't become a peach cobbler.
He didn't become a pie maker, or he just become a pie?
He made cobblers out of people. Oh!
Meat pie!
Cannibal jokes. But with the 1860s quickly approaching, so was the Civil War. And Alferd Packer, like every other man around his age at the time, would have to play his part. So on April 22nd, 1862, he enlisted in the Union Army while living in Winona, Minnesota. He was placed in the 16th U.S. Infantry Regiment. Here's a little interesting thing, though. He didn't spend a lot of time in the military because 8 months after he enlisted, he was diagnosed with epilepsy. It's really crazy they even were aware of epilepsy back then.
Well, back then they were just like, this guy keeps shaking. Like, why is
this guy's got demons about every other 2 days.
This guy's got the shakes, and we keep tying him down, but he's just tearing through them some days.
No, I mean, like, it's on record that he had epilepsy. Like, they knew what it was by then, apparently.
That's amazing. Well, that's also, you can guarantee that's why, he was in the Union Army. It wasn't the Confederate Army. Cause
that's what
yeah, if he was in the Confederate Army.
That would be demons every 2 days.
He's got the demons. He got to bleed these things out of him.
Yeah. There's only one way to get rid of them. But if you don't know what epilepsy is, guys, it's a neurological disorder marked by sudden reoccurrent episodes of sensory disturbance. Could include loss of consciousness or convulsions associated with abnormal electrical activity in the brain. So obviously, it's something that you cannot help. Something that I think is treatable, but not necessarily curable yet.
I think you're pretty much correct on that. You're probably onto something
for sure.
Why he only had such a short stint is because that probably was triggered during his training. Like, thinking of all the gunfire he was just like being set up next to, all the flashes of muzzles and cannons, and probably something that just triggered alongside in his boot camp or whatever. And they were like, I don't think we want to bring you out into the field.
It may be, you're right. It may be something that manifested later in his adulthood. Well, I mean, gosh, he was probably 18, 19 when he enlisted anyways.
Yeah, at it.
So what I mean?
Hopefully.
Right. But either way, upon his diagnosis, he would be honorably discharged at Fort Ontario, New York. But he apparently wasn't pleased with this and still wanted to do his part in the war, or something. So he headed south, just a little. Not Confederate South. Not that far. He wasn't switching scenes.
He's like, you guys won't take me? Oh, I know who will.
I know who will. No, not that far south. But on June 25th, 1963, he enlisted in the Union Army again, in the 8th Iowa Cavalry Regiment, to be exact. Now, the info on soldiers and enlistments wasn't great back then, as you could imagine, and many things like this tended to slip between the cracks. But epilepsy is kind of a hard thing to hide, especially if you start having seizures every 2 days. So yet again, he was honorably discharged.
Kind of makes me think of Captain America in the beginning of the first Captain America movie, where he just keeps going to enlist, and they're just like, no, like, look at you. And like, this guy got the first time through. They were like, all right, you want to go? Why did he just...
Okay, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't think we need to put him online.
No. So he just goes a couple states over.
Yeah, he just goes to the next state down. He was like, that's where it came around. He was like, I'm Alferd.
Oh, that's how it
Alferd Packer.
He was a pathological liar. So like, who knows? Right. You got to take all of this story with a grain of salt. And of course, there's information out there that's different than what I'm going to present to you today. But leave mean YouTube comments if you want to. That's fine. But it was at this point in Alferd's life that he gave up on the military and decided to move out west to live out the rest of his life. Now, he began picking up whatever jobs he could get. Obviously, he was young with very limited military experience. But he got jobs from ranch hand to hunter, wagon teamster. But as you can imagine, epilepsy can interfere with just about all of these. He even tried being a wilderness guide, but after a seizure would sometimes become lost. And, that's just not a quality you really look for in a guide. No. You know what I'm saying?
When your guide falls over shaking and you have to calm them back down, and they just look at you like, whew.
Oh, take me home. Where are we?
You know where you're at? You know who are you?
What are we doing? Did y'all bring food? Because,
why the hell are we out here?
Well, I'm glad y'all are here.
Yeah. At least I'm not alone. God. Again.
All right. At least I won't go hungry. I mean, what? I mean, at least I got companionship. But anyways, old Alferd ended up taking work that nobody wanted, and usually with a high turnover rate, if you catch my drift. Like mining, for instance, in Colorado.
Not a lot of union turnovers, more or less just we got more boots to fill.
Yes, exactly.
That's all
There's
we could pull
always
out
room in the mines.
That's all we could recover from the cave-in was just they're pulling their boots off. It's like, well, there's a fresh pair. There you go.
There you go. Pass it to the next fella. But even this didn't seem to pay the bills, as Colorado wasn't really known for their natural resources at the time. So Packer ended up in Utah, presumably for work and resources. But honestly, with Packer's condition came other side effects, such as mood swings, aggression, depression, and he was also known as a compulsive liar, as well as a petty thief. And this type of behavior may have caused him to move around quite a bit as well, fleeing authorities or those who sought revenge.
These are the things that kind of made me believe that I feel like early on in this guy's life, there was
Yeah.
probably some head injury or some sort of trauma that, because like especially for his epilepsy to really not really be that prevalent until he was older.
Right.
It's like I feel like he had to suffer some sort of injuries
It's
or
the
head
1800s,
injuries.
right?
Yeah, it's like kicked by a
hitting
horse
kids or something was a normal thing, though, too. It's just,
Yeah, and so I figured it's like they're just need because there's not a lot about his youth in history, so it's
Right.
like it's there's got to be something that either triggered or an event
I'm
that
sure.
kind of went along with it. But
Yeah.
I feel like you just don't go from kind of living a normal life to enlisting in the military and just start having epilepsy.
I don't think growing up in the mid 1800s, you didn't have some type of brain damage. You know what I mean? You'd be lucky not to, seriously.
Absolutely.
I mean, they don't wearing helmets. What the hell's a helmet, dude?
No.
What are you talking about? But really, these issues, these different mood swings and stuff, it really started to mess Packer up. And after years of dealing with these issues and making a modest living as a miner or a prospector, in 1873, Packer caught wind of possible gold in the San Juan Mountains, and like many other prospectors, thought that this was the chance to strike it rich. And at this time, Packer is really starting to realize what real work is, and he's also realizing that he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, prospecting's not easy.
I think he is like one more firing away from just a life of crime at this point.
At this point, he also probably just
And
doesn't
that's why
remember
he's
all the
like,
other times
fuck it. I mean, if I'm willing to go life of crime, if I'm willing to abandon all for money, then I might as well risk my life this way.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what
the
I'm
same
saying?
thing.
Give it
yeah.
one more chance.
I feel like if he's having such memory loss too, like he wakes up not knowing where he is, he's almost like, why do I keep getting fired? I'm just, I'm coming to work every day, and now I just keep getting fired. Like, what the fuck?
Right. So basically what happened was this group of prospectors in Packer's area had planned this trip to go out to the San Juan Mountains, and Packer eventually persuaded the men that they needed him, okay? And that he knew the area because he had been a guide there for many years, right? Many years, even though he's probably like 22. But this was just another lie of his and would ultimately lead to his group's demise. Foreshadowing.
You always need. I'm the planner. I'm the guy who kind of comes. I think on my feet. I come up. Come on. You always need a guy like me. You always need me. I'm the guy who's going to show you where to go. You need me.
I was raised in those mountains. What are you talking about?
You merely embraced the mountains. I was born there.
I was born there. But another one of the prospectors, Preston Nutter, was traveling with the group, and he called Packer, quote, a whiny fraud, also claiming he was stingy with rations and begged for everything, and was also prone to violent outbursts when he didn't get his way.
Oh, Nutter.
Right. Why? What, you don't believe Nutter?
That's a nutter.
You don't believe old Preston Nutter?
I kept thinking it was Professor Nutter, and I was like, Nutty Professor.
Well, you know about these Nutters, man.
They nutting everywhere.
Yeah. Packer's shenanigans on the trail really fucked things up for the group, as you can imagine, and significantly slowed down travel. And by the time the group reached the Mormon Trail, winter had set in, and it was covered in snow, otherwise known as invisible. But it's a good thing they got Packer, right? I mean, he is a tracker.
He's
Packer the
been
tracker.
Here. He's been here his whole life. He's lived
That's
amongst
right.
these wilderness, and he is good to go. And
That's right.
But why is he shaking?
Well, there he goes again.
Okay.
But yeah, they're lucky they had Packer, right? The old Colorado guide at their side. Oh, wait, he was a fraud and just caused them to get even more loss. Even with the use of their compasses, it was beginning to look quite bleak. So bleak, in fact, that they were out of rations and the men resorted to eating horse feed, which didn't provide much, just before resorting to eating the horses themselves. So now they're on foot.
Most of the horses are eating hay and dried oats and things.
I would say it's probably oats and hay. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna get much out of that. I would have
Absolutely not.
much rather been like, let's just eat one of the horses and we're gonna double up on one of them.
Yeah. Eventually, I think they almost come to the point of eating horses when they stumble upon a Ute reservation, and the leader of this Ute reservation, Chief Ouray, known as a friend to the white man, gave them shelter and food and told them that they could stay until the spring, warning the prospectors of the harsh winter ahead of them. But all the men could think about was the gold that awaited them in those mountains, and how other miners were getting rich and taking what could have been theirs. So with full stomachs and now rested up, the men took off again in February.
Well, also, they have Packer. He knows where he's going.
Yes. Well, some of them do. When I say the men took off, not all of them. Some of them were a little more intelligent and decided to stay at the camp. But 11 of them ended up going off in search of gold. 5 of them went with Packer. So his group had 6 people.
Okay.
Okay. Like I said, half of the men decided to stay with the tribe and keep watch over the horses and wagons, while 11 of them left without the weight of all those supplies, food and such.
Travel light.
We travel light. It's only going to be 2 weeks. I mean, who needs food over 2 weeks? But
fasting, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Chief Uray tried to convince the men that it was a bad idea, but they just wouldn't be deterred. So he gave them food in the safest directions that he could, which were to follow the river, and the men set out. But old Packer knew better. He didn't need no stinking directions. He was a real man. A real stupid man.
I've got my own map. He just pulls out a crayon drawn map.
Right. But somehow he was still able to convince 5 of the 11 men to follow him because, quote, he knew the area very well. We've heard that before.
You can sell a lot with confidence.
You really can. You really can. The rest of the men had learned their lesson and decided to stick with the chief's directions, which we stated before, which were to follow the Gunnison River. This would ultimately ensure their survival. I'm not sure it was that they trusted the chief, but more so that they were just tired of Packer's bullshit. But the chief's suggestion obviously ended up being the best way because if you follow the river, you can fish.
Yes, and the river's going to at least lead you to other things.
You have water.
Yes. Water only. It's flowing one way. It's either going to lead you to the coast.
Yeah, but Packer thought, following the river, that's going to take too long, blah, 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 this and that. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're dead.
This is
Packer
like that.
Had ulterior motives for this whole trip, in my opinion, and we'll get to that.
This is like that Stephen King moment in the book, or like the movie or whatever, where it's like, I wouldn't go that way. And they're like,
yeah.
Our group went this way. Yeah. And they're like, you still going to go that way?
Okay.
All right. With that guy? Okay.
All right. Hey.
It's that one guy.
It's your funeral.
Don't want to go up there, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But with Packer or without Packer, the Gunnison River group weren't very successful either, nearly dying of starvation. I don't know how. I mean, they had fish, right? Maybe they just weren't good fishermen and didn't have the right equipment. But they were found by some cattle hands and given a place to camp and food to get back on their feet. This time, though, they decided the winter was just too much and that they would wait it out until April when the weather was better.
Isn't that the group that decided to leave without supplies, though?
Yeah, well, both of these groups did.
Okay, well, yeah, either way, it's like, we'll get food along the way.
Yeah.
Did you bring a fishing rod? Ooh, wait, we got a...
Oh, you brought a net, Shirley. Oh, wow, okay.
Wait, who's Shirley?
No, I didn't, and don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, who's Shirley?
But meanwhile, back with Packer the Tracker was Shannon Bell, James Humphrey, Frank Miller, Georgia Noon, and Israel Swan. Now, these men had no idea that they had already sealed their fates. They had set out through the treacherous mountain path with minimal provisions and rations that would last about 2 weeks. Now, the area that they were trying to reach was about 75 miles away. So to make that hike in 2 weeks, they would have to cover 5 miles a day in the worst possible weather conditions, sometimes a straight-up snowstorm.
5 miles a day in the best weather conditions on foot is tough for me. So I'm just
that doesn't sound fun, right? But back then you're used to walking, right?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure they took a few horses.
Yeah, they didn't have Teslas back then. There was no Segways getting them around.
No. Now, what went down next, as far as step by step, is somewhat lost to history or to interpretation. But 2 months later, on April 6th, we'll try to fill it in the best we can, just let you know. But 2 months later, on April 16th, 1874, Packer appears on a frozen lake bed, half dead, at the Los Pinos Indian Agency. He was wearing rags for shoes. As he had burst through the door of the mess hall, he begged for food and water, which they quickly obliged. All Packer had, besides his worn clothes, were a rifle, a knife, a steel pot, and a satchel. Well, that they knew of.
Okay.
Because Packer was unable to hold down any food, the tribe assumed he was suffering from refeeding syndrome, resulting from prolonged starvation. But there was something else going on here. They thought, if you go that long without food, you can't just introduce a ton of calories into your body immediately.
Oh, no.
Your body will go into shock. So, over the course of 10 days, I think I found in research, over the course of 10 days, you have to eat small amounts of food until your body learns to kind of, you're still going to feel like you're starving for 10 days. Like you should.
Yeah.
You're just barely eating enough, basically, to keep you alive.
Yeah, because it's like it's now training your body to stop like basically eating itself and go back to eating the calories you're giving it.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's like I remember reading back in history about when they were like liberating all the Holocaust camps and things like that, of having to like slowly just like you're seeing all these people who are just starving skeletons.
Right.
And you're like, yes, we want to feed them, but it's like you can only get like they had to give them such small portions. It's
yes,
like,
exactly.
If we were just to open the trunk up, like the truck, they would die. They would just eat themselves and die and throw up. And
and it's the same way with extreme dehydration. Like it's if you're extremely dehydrated, you can't even drink water. Like you have to splash it on your. It's like you almost need to soak someone in water.
Yeah, it's like osmosis.
At first. Yeah, pretty much. But since Packer wasn't able to hold anything down, they decided to give him some whiskey, and that ended up being just the thing to get Packer talking. And boy, did he talk.
Man, that's so old-fashioned right there.
Right? Serious. Just give him some whiskey. We don't know what the hell else to do.
It'll make him sleep regardless.
Right. But he explained he was a hired guide for 5 men and had become snowblind. And because of that, now he was no longer of use to the other men, like he was before.
Ah, great. You outlive my usefulness now.
Yeah. Yes, you have. A long time ago. Anyway, so they gave him a rifle and basically wished him good luck as they abandoned him on the snowy wilderness. He survived on roots and rosebuds. This is still his story. This is what happened to him, okay?
Rosebud.
Right. But this group here, this tribe, didn't know the pathological liar that was Alferd Packer, and they believed every word. I mean, why? What reason do they have to doubt him, right?
Yeah, a crazy man comes bursting through your doors dressed like he was living in the wilderness for a while.
Right. Starving, right?
Yeah, it's not an unbelievable story for the time.
Right. Although they were somewhat suspicious. We'd be lying if we said they weren't somewhat suspicious, because they noticed that he didn't look malnourished even in the slightest. He looked healthy, and his face really looked plump and had color. Not like someone who had been starving for 2 months in the mountains.
It's like, how fat were you before they left you?
Right. Jesus Christ.
God, you were the thickest guide we've ever seen out here in the Colorado wilderness.
Right. But regardless, they couldn't prove anything. So they let him stay and recover at the camp for about 10 days, during which Packer sells his rifle to the Justice of Peace in exchange for $10, which is about $280 today. God, inflation's a bitch, huh?
Right.
With plans of heading back to Pennsylvania. That's where Packer's headed. Man, is he running from something, you think?
I mean, it looks like he's just trying to...
He just wants to get back home.
This? I don't need this. You want to take this?
You want to take this? I just want money. But anyway, he traveled to a nearby town of Saguache to get some supplies, but ended up just spending a shit ton of money, really, dropping hundreds of dollars in saloons, and even loaning the owner of one saloon $300, which would equate to about $7,185 today. So you can see how a newcomer in town throwing around this type of money raised some serious red flags.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, what was in that satchel?
Exactly.
Right?
Where did you...
Apparently, this satchel was full of fucking cash.
What kind of roots did you find out there?
Kind of rosebud you got in there.
Kind of rosebud my ass. It was great because the first time in the script when he wrote the timeline originally, it said salons. I was like, this man went to town and just got decked out, went to the salons, got his hair did.
Really?
All his pictures look really nice. His hair is all greased up. I was like, man, he did spend a lot of money in the salons. But Michael corrected it the first time. I was like, that was great.
I'm glad you could make fun of a typo in my script that no one would know otherwise.
But it just made me, I was like, man, I was like, that really does cause some red flags when a guy just comes into town and just goes to the goes to the salon and
immediately
just
gets his hair
up.
done.
Like, that was your first stop? Thought you were starving in the wilderness.
Got your mustache curled.
You immediately got your hair greased.
But yeah, so people were very curious about this money and how he acquired it. And when explaining his story and how he came across this money, he'd tell very different versions, often getting his facts, mixed up. And things really started to get dicey for him when an original surviving member of the Prospectors group caught up with him in town and started asking questions about the rest of his group.
That's always a great... Shit.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Packer, he encountered several men from the original group in that town who were highly skeptical about the versions of his events, to put it lightly. So much so, they almost immediately got the law involved.
So yeah, like basically that whole other group came through that town together.
Of course.
Like,
it was the closest town.
Yeah, they were almost looking for their friends. Like, hey,
Yeah.
they haven't shown up. It's been like 2 or 3 months now.
Yeah.
Like, where have they gone?
And then they stumble upon Packer.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God. Frickin' Packer.
I just imagine that first guy he sees just across just at the mess hall, being like, just looking up, like, shit.
Yep.
It's like, is that you?
Is that you, son of a bitch?
Oh, I gotta go tell my boys.
Exactly. So Indian agent Charles Adams got involved, and he arrested Packer and brought him back to Los Pinos for questioning. And finally, on May 8th, 1874, we got to hear Packard's quite conflicting confessions, which basically boil down to this. Israel Swan died first, and the others, not Packer, of course.
Right.
He doesn't eat people, the others who were obviously starving decided to eat Israel Swan. Then later, 3 others died from exposure and starvation, just later. And, since the cannibalistic Band-Aid had already been ripped off, Packer admitted to killing the last member, Shannon Bell, claiming self-defense, of course, and his body was no doubt used as nourishment as well.
All right, well, if the other 2 had died, why didn't you just eat them? If they died of natural causes.
So this is the first lie.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
There are some truths about this statement, I think, but we'll break it down as we go, because we're going to go over some more testimonies from Mr. Packer here. So Agent Charles Adams, though, he had heard enough. This is already a pretty damning story already. It's like, just saying this, if this ends up being the truth, you're still going to prison. Like, Jesus Christ. But Agent Charles Adams had heard enough, so he transported Packer back to Saguache and had him jailed outside of town. But in August of 1874, Packer, the sneaky bastard, escaped custody and went on the run. And what a run it was. It was a freaking 9-year run, dude.
Woo! And
here's what's funny.
Catch me if you can.
His escape is highly suspicious, okay? So much so that, like I said, he was kept outside of town.
Yeah.
The townspeople thought that there was no reason in keeping him. They thought that keeping prisoners like Packer, where you had no proof and he had explanations for everything and they were out in the wilderness, blah, 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 this and that. They thought, if you don't have any proof to hold him, we shouldn't be paying for it.
Yeah. Why is he now our burden?
So there was a large group of people who kind of came to his rescue and freed him.
Okay, almost like a jailbreak or like a petition type deal.
Somebody in particular, snuck him a key and gave him money and food so he could make an escape. Somebody helped Packer. He left that jail prepared for a run.
Yeah,
so we can't be too impressed here.
He didn't Shawshank this.
No, he either bribed somebody, or, like I said, maybe somebody felt that strongly about their tax dollars going to hold that they freed him. But I think more so a man who just spent thousands of dollars, right? Mm-hmm. So or hundreds of dollars, which equates to thousands nowadays. A man who's throwing around hundreds of dollars probably has plenty of money still left over, or at least knows where it is to bribe somebody, or has the wherewithal to lie about it at least.
Yeah, to at least tell them, I got money outside, and if you get me out, I can get you the rest of that money.
Yeah.
He is a pathological liar, so.
Yes, exactly. So he goes on a 9-year run. No joke. Like, I feel like they almost forget about him.
At this point in history, I'm surprised they didn't.
I know, seriously. Packer wasn't seen again until March of 1883, when Frenchy Cabazon, who was one of the original prospecting party, found him by accident in Douglas, Wyoming.
Again, just across the buffet line.
Just son of a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting tidbit. On the day Packer escaped from Saguache, the remains of the missing prospectors were found in a valley that overlooks what is now Lake City, Colorado. And even though months had passed, there was still clear evidence of a struggle and, most of all, foul play. The analysis was conclusive and stated that there were defensive wounds on some of the victims and clear evidence that they had been attacked by a hatchet and strategically defleshed by a knife. Today, the grave site is marked and fenced as a tribute to the murdered men. Okay, and yes, I said the grave site because all 5 men were found in the same place. Explain that, Mr. Packer.
Yeah, I thought that you guys had one person died, so you killed them and you ate their body and moved on, and you were lost in the will. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. We'll come back to that.
Were you dragging them behind? Like,
right? Seriously. I mean, I understand they were a food source, but you just stayed there with them like you did. I don't know. So anyways, we'll talk more about that later. But back to March of 1883 when Packer was accidentally found again, right? Packer was arrested and taken to Denver, Colorado, and once again questioned about the incident. In his second confession, Packer stuck with his original claim of self-defense, but admitted to stealing the rifle and $70 in cash. Yeah, right, $70 from the dead men.
I mean, that's a lot of money back then. $70
Dude, he spent more than $70 at the first bar he went to. He blew $300. See what I'm saying?
So, okay.
So, yeah, there's no freaking way. That's probably just all he had left at the time.
Oh, okay. That's all he brought, or unless he had stole more previously at some point.
Yeah. But strangely enough, Packer ended up being charged with the murder of Israel Swan only, who was the first to die, and was quickly taken to Lake City for trial. They didn't want to risk his ass getting out again, honestly.
No.
They're like, we're not even going to hold you. Like, we're just going to trial.
It's like, the first time we had our
we're
doubts.
working late today. Let's just go ahead and take okay.
Yeah, we had our doubts the first time, but then we found like a pile of bodies in this ravine and like hatchet wounds and like a trail. Yeah, just get in the cell.
Oh yeah, and there's some damning evidence. The jury wasted no time in finding Packer guilty of murder. I mean, just imagine the character witnesses. I mean, he was screwed, dude. Just all those people who came back, the other group, the other 5 that went out and ended up in that town, all of them testified, and they had nothing good to say about Packer in the first place. And then now he shows up with their friends' belongings or belongings from other people in the group that they knew belonged to these other people, and he has multiple things.
Yeah. And now they know that they found all their bodies together in one spot. It's like, oh yeah, we know you killed her. We know you killed him.
Yeah.
We didn't trust you to begin with. You were leading us down to nowhere.
A massacre happened here. But Judge Melville B. Jerry, am I saying that right? Melville B. Jerry.
That is
that is a name right there, bro.
Melville B. Jerry.
Melville B. Jerry. Look who it is.
That
sounds like a phrase. I might start using that. But that was the judge's name. And he wasted no time with the sentencing, pronouncing that Packer, quote, be hanged by the neck until he is dead. 3 deads.
Oh, that's that classic old school Kentucky Southern lawyer. I hang you by the neck until you are dead. Dead. It's like,
even the good Lord couldn't bring him back. He's so dead.
You're so dead. You know what? Kill him again. Bring him back and kill him again. And bring him back and kill him a third time.
But unfortunately, like an armored cockroach, Packer wasn't going down that easy. He really was not. He was a tough little pest. And he appealed his conviction to the Colorado Supreme Court and actually got the verdict reversed.
Oh, I thought you meant he just started just throwing elbows in the courtroom and just swinging.
No, he went about it legally.
Like an armored cockroach.
And actually got away. No, I was just saying, because, a cockroach that's armored, if you can't squash it, how are you going to kill it?
Exactly. Yeah, fire. I don't know, but I just, like an armored cockroach, just imagine
it's got to be a lot of fire.
And just starts fighting in the courtroom. I will not go down!
So he was tried in the Colorado Supreme Court, got it reversed, then was tried again. I guess they didn't believe in double jeopardy back then. Or maybe he was tried for different murders. Maybe that was the thing. The first time it was Israel Swan. Maybe they were like, oh, we'll just bring up somebody else.
Oh, yeah, we got
5. We're going to get him eventually. Later he was tried again, and this time found guilty again. It was this whole boring court thing. Well, except for the part where a member of the Ute tribe comes running in with strips of, quote, white man's meat that he found in the area that Packer had camped.
Was it labeled properly?
It was. It was in a little baggie.
Yeah, white meat, dark meat.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, this is clearly the white man's meat.
Apparently, it was cut into strips that somebody would be preserving.
Okay.
Right?
So, the only thing the only question I have about that is just being
you just have one question about
that. It's like, unless the skin was still on it, it's if that guy comes, it's like, this is definitely white man meat. It's like, how do you know? There's no skin on that. How do you?
Don't worry about it, Andy.
How are you so sure that this is? We have more questions for you.
Okay, well, listen. Something I read quite often actually was that Packer enjoyed the chest meat. And, these guys weren't bodybuilders, so I'm sure they didn't have, huge chests. So, maybe he had slivers of the chest meat. I know this sounds gross, but he
Had a
did
nipple
talk
in there
about
or
how he
something.
thought it was like a delicacy type thing. So maybe the skin was still there.
Okay, yeah, got that breast meat.
And honestly, the skin would help preserve it as well. Like if you were hunting deer, and you're cutting slabs off and you can't take the whole deer to process, you're going to
True.
leave the skin to like roll it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
this is a super morbid conversation, but it's a genuine question. Like,
Yeah.
how did they know it was white man's meat, right? It just tastes that way.
Because they had said that the
it's very
bodies
unseasoned.
Well, they had said that the bodies had looked like they had been de-skinned, or like
Yeah.
there was evidence of people being basically skinned.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, was the skin still on it, or did you just
Right.
find chunks of meat somewhere?
Well,
or
I don't know. Either way, the court bought it. So with that new evidence, Packer now has some explaining to do. So he basically told a story of a group of men plotting against one another for who was going to be eaten first. And it ended up, luck would have it, it ended up being Israel Swan, the wealthiest guy of the group. Can you
Yeah.
imagine that?
he just happened to
That's
draw
so-
the shortest straw.
Well, no, he just died. He just died
he
first.
just-
It
he
was
just-
just lucky. And then,
As
and-
luck would have it.
And, the right thing to do would be divide up his thousands of dollars that he came on the trip with. $6,000, by the way, according to Israel Swan's family. He went on the trip with $6,000. And the other 5 men divided that up. Okay. Also, he had a custom rifle. I don't know how it was custom. I don't know why. I mean, I guess because he's rich and he probably paid for it. But it was a
Okay.
really nice rifle. They took that. Well, Packer did. And like I said, he was traveling with thousands of dollars. So not really strange that he ended up dying first. I imagine Packer probably killed him and then was trying to convince the others, look, now we have resources. Now we have money. Like now we have another rifle. Like
Yeah.
now, and we have meat.
I kind of feel like he was just kind of had that look of like,
He was like,
what?
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Why are you
what?
mad at me?
Right.
How is this a crime? Like-
Also, Israel Swan was the oldest member of the excursion at, I think, 65 years old. He was over
Okay.
60. He
That's-
was over 60.
That's old for a cross-country trip back then, especially
Yeah.
on foot.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. But each of the men basically had been struck. This is according to Packer. Each one after him, after Israel Swan, had been struck by a hatchet in the head and devoured until it was down to just 2. This is the story he's sticking with right now. And the 2 were Alferd Packer and Bell. Hey, what was Bell's first name?
I can't remember either.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Alexander. No, it's not Alexander.
It's not Alexander
definitely
Graham
not
Bell.
Alexander Graham Bell. It is Shannon Bell. Shannon Bell.
There we
Sorry
go.
about that,
Yeah,
guys. But Packer claims that Shannon Bell rushed him with his rifle and tried to strike Packer with the stock of the gun. Now, I believe this may have happened
Yeah.
because there is evidence that Bell died last. Okay? And maybe he had enough of Packer's shit and was literally trying to stand up to him. But either way, Packer dodges the blow, according to him, and struck Bell in the head with, you guessed it, his hatchet. He then, having no other choice, consumed Bell because he's out there alone, right?
No other choice.
And, keeping a few extra strips of flesh for travel, which he still had with him when he spotted the Los Pinos Indian Agency, he quickly, and by his own account, regrettably, threw the strips of flesh into a bush or in the woods somewhere. And that is how the Ute member came across them and then brought them into court. Okay, so that's how he explained that.
Just hoping a bear would find him or something.
Yeah. So with that, he was convicted of manslaughter. I guess that's all they could prove. And he was sentenced to 40 years in the state penitentiary. But after serving only 17 years of his sentence, Packer's cause gained support from a grassroots campaign in Denver. And I guess due to public pressure, in 1901, Governor Charles S. Thomas granted Packer parole.
Well, I can see how there is. I mean, it's an old, an old
Yeah.
Civil War era tale where there's no witnesses but this guy, and it's it's a weird story to be like, that's the evidence points one way, but the story, okay.
I know, man. It's tough. Unless he really set out and wanted to eat somebody, a lot of people, then I can't see he did it on purpose. He is selfish.
Yeah,
I mean, he's obviously a selfish person, and he's willing to do whatever he's got to do to survive. But I don't know. I don't know if he deserves to be in there 40 years or not. I don't know. Being in that situation, I mean, what would you do? But so now a free man, Packer settled into Littleton, Colorado, where, by all accounts, he became a model citizen. His neighbors actually loved him. A number of people in the Littleton and Deer Creek Canyon area remember him quite kindly. They say Packer liked children, and they were children at the time. So, they would know, I guess. It has been recorded that children followed Packer, quote, like the Pied Piper. Not sure this is good. I don't know.
It's so great. So great.
I don't really know if this is good things.
So great.
But I was trying to balance this out. It just ended up sounding creepy. One account states that when Packer died, he was mourned by the children for whom he had bought candy and spun yarns for in his declining years.
Hey, kids, you want to hear a story about how I ate a dead guy? Here's some butterscotch. Just pull up a stool.
I'm making a cross stitch of it right now. Come here.
You guys know what butt meat tastes like?
Anyways, Fred Clark, former resident of Phillipsburg and one-time owner of the dance hall there, now living in Littleton, described Packer as, quote, "Oh, you want to come in with this guy? You want to be Mr. Fred Clark for us?"
Owner of the dance hall, Fred Clark?
How did he describe Packer?
He was kind of short, black whiskers, and his hair was a little long, but not too long, and it seemed to have awfully piercing black eyes.
Oh,
that's the owner of the dance hall.
That's perfect. I don't think it's that type of dance hall, Andy. I think it's like
a disco,
like a saloon. It's like a Foursquare type thing. I would think.
I'm just imagining a lot of back then. So.
Yeah, I mean, there is.
A lot of raving back then.
You think so?
Yeah.
Same beat, different music.
A lot of strobe lights.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the guy with the epilepsy really liked the raves.
Yeah. Here's a quote from another Littleton resident named William Couch.
Packer lived between the store and the dance hall. There were 4 slab buildings there then. He worked on ranches. He was an awful nice man. When I was a kid, he used to talk to my dad. He did what he did to protect himself. He was never the kind of man they say he was.
Wow.
I guess, maybe?
What do you think?
I don't really know because I feel like he probably took matters into his own hands a bit, but maybe not as much self-defense as he claims.
Okay, this is what I think. I think by the time they settled at that Ute reservation and hung out for a couple months, trying to wait the winter out, but not really, and then they decide to go, right? I think at that time, he's thinking, anybody I can get to come with me, I'm going to kill and rob them and then try to make a new way in a new town.
Possibly.
I do. I think from that point, that he knew that the gold was unrealistic.
True.
He's like, we're not going to get the gold. If we wait till spring, it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And if we go now, we're going to die. So why don't we go now? I'll kill these guys that I go with, take their stuff, live off of their bodies, because there were rumors that he had done it before, that he had tasted flesh before.
Okay.
There were people in his life that stated that he had talked about consuming flesh to them before. So I don't know if it was during the war. Well, no, he didn't even get in the war, really.
No, he didn't get to actually go through combat.
Any time in the war. So who knows? Sheesh.
See,
who knows, man?
My theory was a bit different. My theory was, okay, I don't think he originally planned on killing and eating and robbing them.
Even when they're out there in the snow.
I think after the reservation, once they get to the reservation and I think he probably has realized, I really don't know where I'm going. I don't know how to get back.
I don't know if he ever realized that, Andy.
Well, I feel like at this point when the group is splitting off, he's like, I've got to go with, I got to convince somebody to go with me, because if I get lost by myself, I'm dead. So I have to convince somebody to go with me, because if I have a seizure, if I pass out, I won't just die out there alone. Well, then I think once he convinces these guys to go with him, they get really tired of looking at him going, where are we going? And him just, turning the map every once in a while.
Yeah.
And they finally start calling him out on his bullshit. I feel like they probably just threatened to leave him. I feel like they were like, you know what? You get out of here. We're going this way. Yeah. You get on your own. And then there was probably some, well, I'll die on my own. Take me with you. And then I feel like there was some murder after that.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably tried to kick him out of the group. And then he was like, you know what? I'll just kill you all and take your shit.
Yes. Now, one of his statements, it did include that. It did include the fact that he was the victim. They left him, right? And this is just one of his many stories. They left him somewhere. They were like, oh, no. I'm sorry. They sent him for help because they blamed him for being lost.
Right.
So they said, they gave him a rifle, the rifle he had, of course.
The nice custom rifle.
Of course, yeah, because Israel Swan would definitely do that. Gave him his rifle and told him to go hunt and find meat. When he came back, Shannon Bell had killed the 4 other men and had meat in his hand. And when Packer approached him about it, he tried to attack him. The same thing that he said before with the butt of the gun. He dodges it, hatchet to the head. Now, a lot of the skulls did have hatchet wounds to the head.
I've seen some of the pictures on there as well. They
yes.
actually found the skulls with legit
Yes.
like hatchet blows.
Absolutely.
So-
And the bones had scrape marks. And also, there was remains left that had more meat on them than ones that were killed after them. That's kind of damning as well.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you still had
Plenty of meat
on
left.
this guy, but you're killing people still.
Yeah.
So that leads more to the fact that they may have all been killed at one time. It's kind of crazy that Packer would have been able to take on 4 of them, though.
I think it may have been like a nighttime thing. Maybe he tried to kill them at night while they were sleeping, or or something in the dark
With a hatchet.
Because that's the most quiet way he could have done it. If he could get trying to get one good hit to the head,
You
he
think
might
out there in the wilderness with no freaking sounds.
you
I
might
mean,
got
maybe in a snowstorm.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking. He may have tried to hide it and try to be sneaky about it. And I feel like the last person, Bell, probably was the only one who was left alive and had seen him already kill someone and then tried to fight him. And
Yeah.
then he got hatcheted as well.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like I don't feel like there was as much self-defense as he likes to claim. I don't feel like they kicked him out because of, oh, you were snowblind. You're no more use to us. I think it was more like, you got us out
Yeah.
here and you got us lost.
Yep.
We're fucking leaving you.
Oh, yeah. The snowblind thing was such bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Like I said, we really don't know, but we do know that a struggle went down all in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that rules out a lot of his bullshit right there. The fact that, guys were killed as they needed food, as they traveled. It's like, okay, so you killed a guy. Why aren't you, how often do you need to eat a human? It's like every 5 days.
They were
right?
only
so
gone
you should
for
be
2
5
months.
days further ahead.
Yeah, he was only gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's 5 people or whatever, and then one person dies, but you're only gone for 60 days.
Yeah.
You had some supplies. How much did you eat off of that first body?
Yeah.
Before you're like, well, out already. I guess we need. Who needs seconds? Like, were you
right.
just buffeting
Who's
the
gonna
first
be
person?
seconds?
Yeah, like were you just all
Yeah.
you can eating the first body?
I don't know, man. Yeah.
We'll have
That's
to
why it's one that's passed down through folklore and legend, man, because it's just a crazy story. It really is.
We'll have to watch the musical, see how much they got right.
Oh my God, they got nothing right in that fucking musical. We were watching the trailer to a musical made from Trey Parker, and Matt Stone of South Park.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently made a spoof movie about. Wouldn't you say
It's called like the
It's a
Cannibal,
farce,
the
or-
Cannibal, the musical.
It's called The Cannibal the Musical.
Alferd Packer.
And like I said, Trey Parker stars in it as Alferd Packer. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to let Andy watch it because I can't waste my life with that. And he can tell us about it.
Absolutely,
in a future JTB or something like that.
But yeah, that was one of the first things I looked up, like documentaries on Alferd Packer. I saw like Cannibal, the musical. What? And I started watching. I was like, oh, this is all I need to study.
He found it from, I told him, he was like, is there anything, because, sometimes I'll have Andy pull up stuff for the show, whether it be sound bits or pictures or, things I want him to read. And he was like, is there anything you want me to pull up today? And I was like, you can see if there's some quotes from Alferd Packer or something like that that's not in the timeline. And he found the lines to this play, to this script. And I started looking at him. I was like, yeah, he definitely didn't say that shit.
He didn't say, I think I know precisely what I mean when I say it's a shabadoinkle day.
Shabadoinkle?
Shabadoinkle type of day. Shabadoinkle.
You don't think he really said that, Andy?
Yeah, it sounds like an Andy Samberg line. Shorgy dorg. Can only hear that on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Well, what else you got on there? What's another golden line that you have from old Alferd Packer in the movie? Just to give you guys an idea.
Hey, you're cutting into the butt. Well, what kind of meat did you want? Well, not butt.
Start with the shoulder?
You son of a bitch, Humphrey. Oh, come on. You haven't even tried it yet. Tries it. You son of a bitch, Humphrey.
This is delicious. No. But yeah, guys, Alferd Packer, I don't know if I mentioned it. I don't think I have. Me and Andy went off on a few tangents here, but the lucky bastard ended up dying of natural causes, April 23rd, 1907, and was buried with a full military funeral in Littleton Cemetery.
He was honorably discharged because of medical condition.
Twice.
So
He was honorably discharged twice.
do we get 2 funerals?
Do we
It's like
get 2?
a 42 gun
I think he
salute.
gets 2 flags.
Yeah, you get a 42 gun salute, and
40.
this is gonna take a while. Hold on.
Right.
At the time it was muskets, so Jesus.
Right.
Oh, no, it's 1907 at this time.
Yeah, they got rifles, man. They're good. They're good. But yeah, guys, the son of a bitch ended up just living out a normal life. That's what's crazy about it, really. The life he lived and then what he ended up doing. But no, he wasn't an outlaw on the run. This was an isolated incident as far as we know. So I guess it's not that surprising that he eventually got out. But
I mean, he did escape from jail and live 9 years on the run, though.
yeah,
so they
with
didn't,
help.
And it's like they almost didn't even include that in his charges when they came back to like try him again. They were like, "Oh yeah, we know you got out, but we're just kind of trying you for the murder."
Well,
like,
because
you don't really care that I escaped
because a lot of people were. I think a lot of people were involved in that escape. I really do.
Absolutely.
I mean, how do you get to Wyoming? You know what I mean? He ain't got no money. You don't got shit. How the hell did you get there? You got out. You just walked out of this cabin. There was no even like Andy said, it was not Shawshank Redemption. He didn't dig out. He didn't bust out. He didn't blow it up. He just walked out the door. Somebody unlocked the damn door and then gave him the resources and everything he needed to get to Wyoming.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I think somebody just handed him a cake through the slide. Yeah. It was like, here's your dessert.
There you go. Chew it slowly.
Just don't eat it all in one bite.
Exactly. And don't eat all your Oh My Gaia deodorant in one bite either, right, Andy?
You know what? You're never gonna let me live that down.
I am never gonna let you live that down. One time, Andy ate Oh My Gaia. If you guys don't know what Oh My Gaia is it's an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. And their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while still maintaining effectiveness. And at Oh My Gaia, there is surely a scent for you. Even you, Shirley.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
No. There's a scent for you. From vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside, bergamot, amber, pear, sweet pea, sailor, barbershop, and of course, true crime pine. True crime pine.
Of course. I feel like I should be pointing at things like popping up on the screen, like bing, bing, like Vanna whitening it. Just ding, ding, bling.
Yeah, we'll just make it really difficult for Kristen. Put him over here. Put him here. Put him here.
How quick are your reflexes?
Right, exactly. But if you guys don't know where to start with some True Crime Pine deodorant. It's a great place to test the amazing quality of Oh My Gaia. And because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word CREEPER for 15% off your order. CREEPER for 15% off at shop_Oh My Gaia on Instagram or ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com. And again, use code word CREEPER, guys. All right.
And guys, one other thing we want to talk about is our other sponsor for this show.
Yes.
Is Tonic CBD.
We got to.
Because guys, we like to vibe around here. We have a good vibe going on. We know it's a different dynamic, but it's still a good vibe. Because it's true, not all CBD products are created equal. From how the hemp is grown and processed to how it's formulated and delivered into your body. That's sweet, body. You got to get it in there. That's why Tonic's products really stand out with original formulas using CBD, adaptogens, herbs, and superfoods, and has been working to deliver the most effective, intentional, and sustainable products that are possible. Tonic cultivates their own hemp on a certified organic family farm in upstate New York. That hemp travels only 30 minutes to their distribution center, where it's turned into a finished product and sent directly to you, our creepers.
Yes.
Ensuring the highest quality vibes for every stage of your enjoying process.
That's
With
right.
values rooted in quality, integrity, and sustainability, just like us here at True Crime Guys.
Integrity.
Tonic is committed to creating plant-based wellness products that are good for the people and good for this here planet. Mm-hmm. Visit tonicvibes.com to learn more and use code word CREEPER for 20% off your order. That's code word CREEPER for 20% off your order at tonicvibes.com.
Very good job, Andy.
I'm getting better. I'm going to have this memorized like I'm like a professional.
I've been doing Oh My Gaia ads so long, and I still feel like I need to have it up for some reason. I don't know why.
It's just tattooed down your wrist, like down your arm, like a checklist. All the scents.
It's not like burned in my retinas by this point.
He's got all the scents, like a grocery list on his arm. Every time she makes a new one, he's got to go get new ink.
Damn it. You discontinue what? Son of a bitch. But yeah, guys, please check out our sponsors, Oh My Gaia and Tonic CBD. There are links to both of their websites right below the description of this episode with the code word spelled out right beside the link which is Creeper, of course.
And yeah, guys, check out some of that tonic stuff. I know we always kind of read these ads at the end, but I've been using a lot of this stuff lately with some of their CBD dog treats for my German Shepherd.
The dog treats?
Dude, they generally help him chill. I have a big, anxious, just nervous wreck of a big black German Shepherd, and I've given him these little, tonic dog treats, and they just kind of help him chill out. They give him one every day, like a little 4 milligram dog treat. He seems to like them. I've been using some of the tonic chill vibes before bed. Generally help me sleep. So it's got my seal of approval and Vader's. So it's got the Imperial seal now.
Exactly. And Andy was telling me the other day he was getting low on his supply and he had a dog treat and it was a great experience. Right, Andy? But guys, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please go give us a follow, a like, whatever on social media at True Crime Guys. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. New videos are every single Wednesday, as well as every so often, there will be a strange episode of Strange Shorts with myself and Andy as well. But don't forget to check out Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys, where for just $5 a month, you can get access to everything we make on TCG Productions. And, if you want to try it out first, you can try out Patreon on the $2 tier for free. For 7 whole days.
7 days.
1 week of listening content, and that will get you access to 70-something Patreon-exclusive episodes of True Crime Guys proper, as well as 50 Vault episodes. So then, if you step up to the $5 tier, then you get access to things like Just the Banter, Sandu Stories, Strange Shorts, Higher Thoughts, all that extra stuff on there. All right? So guys, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week for one more case, and then it's Patreon, I believe.
I think you're right, Michael.
Is that right?
I believe you are right, and it's good to have like one of these.
Actually, I think next week is Patreon.
We got one of these old cases, kind of like a palate cleanser in here. I like these. I like when we get to have a little bit of old mystery and guessing games and stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of a break from the bloody slaughter stuff.
Yeah, we'll get back to that bloody slaughter stuff pretty soon. But next week we will be on Patreon. I'm confirming that right now. Next week we will be on Patreon. We are covering the kidnapping of Adolf Coors, the Coors beer.
Yeah, the heir to the Coors family. Yeah.
Yes.
Miller Coors.
I have not started studying it yet, so it is way off. But anyways, guys, we'll see you there on Patreon. If not, we'll see you here on the free platform for Strange Shorts as well on YouTube. Anything else, Andy?
I think we're all good, Michael.
All right, guys, there's nothing less to do but keep on creeping.
Bye. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to check out all the other shows on our TCG network, as well as subscribing to our YouTube channel. Starting every Monday with new episodes of Strange and Unexplained, followed every other Tuesday by our audio drama podcast, Sandu Stories. Then, of course, new episodes of True Crime Guys every Wednesday. And if that's not enough, head on over to our Patreon, where you can have access to hundreds of hours of exclusive content, including older episodes, Strange Shorts, the latest edition of Sandu Stories, and, of course, Higher Thoughts. But until next time, guys, keep creeping.
You hush your mouth, boy.